Welcome to the voice of the June Lotus, a sacred space for truth, alignment, healing, and inner guidance. I'm your host, Hwanhari, holistic life coach, wellness guide, and intuitive energy alchemist. Here, we explore the path of inner transformation through soulful reflections, gentle guidance, and real conversations. Whether you're navigating change, reconnecting with your intuition, or simply craving more peace in your life, you're in the right place. Now, take a deep breath, settle in, and let's tune into the wisdom within. Welcome to the first episode of The Voice of the June Lotus. I'm really honored and actually very excited to share this sacred space with you today. Now, I'm currently not recording in a fancy studio, but in a beautiful room in my boyfriend's home. So I hope you can appreciate the natural noise of cars driving by, planes flying overhead, and birds chirping in nearby trees. I didn't want to delay recordings any longer, so let's get started. This first episode is called The Awakening. What happens when you start listening to yourself? When we begin to truly listen, we don't just figure out what we want. We start to understand who we are beneath everything else. But before we get into that, I have to talk about something that makes this kind of listening even possible. And that is the art of discernment, the inner landscape. When people say, listen to yourself, it can sound simple, maybe even obvious. But inside each of us, there's more than one voice. Some voices are rooted in fear. Some echo things we've picked up from our childhood, the words of a parent, a teacher, a moment we never really unpacked. Some come from survival, parts of us that want to protect, even if they limit us. And then there's another voice, one that's more quiet and more clear, the one that feels calm even in the chaos. That voice usually doesn't shout. It doesn't try to convince. It just knows. And that's where discernment comes in. Learning to recognize which voice is speaking, which one actually feels like you. It takes practice, but the more you notice, the more you can feel the difference between what's true and what's just noise. How the true self speaks. So, what does your true self sound like? Usually it's calm, grounded. It doesn't rush. It's not emotionally charged. It feels like a deep breath, like a small light burning in a dark room. Sometimes it says, just take a breath. Keep going. This matters. Other times, it's more direct. You've outgrown this. You're safe now. It's time. And then sometimes it's subtle, a tiny pull in a random direction. Here's an example. Say you're at work, and for a while you've been feeling a little stuck at your current position. You've been wishing for a new career or position that feels more in alignment with where you are in your life. One day, out of nowhere, you get this feeling or nudge to step outside the office. Once you've walked outside, you find yourself heading towards the cafeteria. And then as you walk in, boom, you bump into someone you haven't seen in years. You start to catch up and start talking. And somehow they mention about a career opportunity that lines up with exactly what you've been looking for. That's how it happens sometimes, quietly and naturally, like life arranging itself in response to your clarity. A real life moment. Now, let's say you're in a relationship that has been feeling a little off. Nothing too dramatic, but something seems a little unsettled. You care about this person, but the connection feels a little heavy and misaligned. One evening, instead of spiraling into overthinking or rehearsing the next argument in your head, you take pause. You get quiet and you breathe. And you hear it. Your inner voice doesn't say, "End this thing now." And it doesn't say, "You're going to stay here forever." It just says, "Speak with love." Sometimes that's all it takes. One clear, honest moment to shift the energy or to open up clarity, either to move forward together or apart peacefully. In that moment of pause, you allowed yourself to quiet down all the other voices, and you can hone in to the voice of your heart, the voice of your truth. The awakening. So, what really happens when you start listening to yourself? You wake up, not all at once, but gradually. You start hearing your own voice again, the one that was there before all the noise. You start trusting it. You move differently. You start saying yes more intentionally and start saying no without guilt. You stop chasing things that were never meant for you, and you start aligning with what is. It doesn't mean life gets perfect, but it does get real. And in reality is where the magic lives. Strengthening the connection. If you're wondering how to get better at this, how to hear yourself more clearly, here are a few gentle ways to start. Number 1, spend a few quiet minutes alone each day. No pressure to meditate perfectly. Just give yourself a little space to hear what's there. Number 2, ask better questions. Instead of, "What should I do?" try, "What feels peaceful?" or "What feels most like love?" Number 3, notice how it feels in your body. Truth usually feels lighter, even if it's hard. It feels steady, like a deep exhale. Number 4, trust the small nudges. The urge to pause, to call someone, to walk a different way. Sometimes those are the moments that lead to everything else. Number 5, reflect often. Journaling can help you see patterns and connect dots. Over time, you'll start to notice how often your inner voice was trying to guide you, even when you weren't quite ready to hear it. Final thoughts. Listening to yourself is not a trend. It's not something to do once and check off. It's a practice. It's a returning, a way of living within instead of always looking outwards. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. So, wherever you are today, I invite you to take a deep breath, to pause, to listen, not for the loudest voice, but for the truest one. It's already within you, and it's been waiting for you to come home. Thank you for joining me in this sacred space. If today's episode resonated with you, please share it with someone you know and help the growth of this community by subscribing or leaving a review. If you'd like to go deeper in your own journey, feel free to learn more about my coaching or guided support by visiting www.thejunelotus.com. This is the voice of the June Lotus, honoring the voice of wisdom within.